Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Now, the campaigns from both sides have been accused of misleading, being mistaken, or at times even downright lying. The last night's debate was even more of that. Is there anything left the Leave campaign have that hasn't been totally debunked?
I don't think any of our statements have been very effectively debunked. I think what we're saying is very clear. The EU is, I think, moving in the wrong direction for this country. If we vote Leave and take back control tomorrow, it's a great opportunity for us. At the moment, we can't do free trade deals with countries around the world that we might otherwise be able, because we're locked into the EU system. We can't control our immigration system because of Brussels rules. We can't cut energy costs for our industry, for instance, which is a very, very important consideration because of the way the EU works. We can't cut VAT on fuel. We can't cut VAT on sanitary products, for heaven's sake. There are all sorts of ways in which we could take back control of our democracy. That is what this is fundamentally all about. The EU is moving in the wrong direction. They want to turn it into a kind of United States of Europe. This is, I think, the only chance we will have in our lives to say that we don't think that's the right direction for this country and we want a different approach. And that's what I'd like to see.
So a lot of what you've said there is consistent with what you've said from the beginning, but for the 10 to 15% of voters in this area who haven't made their minds up, is there anything different, or what can you say?
Well, what I would just say is to everybody who is currently making their minds up and just thinking about it, I believe that voting Leave tomorrow is the safe and sensible thing to do, because it won't come round again. This is our last chance, I think, certainly probably in my lifetime, to get out of a federalist system that is getting more and more centralised and less democratic. You saw what the Five Presidents report has to say about how to integrate the European economies. Who elected those people? Nobody knows. Very few people can recite their names. But they have more power. If we stay in, they will have more power over the future direction of this country than most members of the cabinet. I don't think that's the right thing for this country. I think we should be out of it. We should be very friendly with our European partners. We should be trading with them more than ever before. Why not? But we should be participating on an intergovernmental basis. That's the way forward.
And speaking of that, the phrase you use, taking back control, is a phrase that's been used or overused quite a bit of late. What does it actually mean anymore to the viewer?
What it means is that you, at an election, have the ability to sack or to vote for the people who really make the decisions. And if you have 60% of the law of your country coming one way or another, primary or secondary legislation, from Brussels, and if you don't know who those bureaucrats are and you don't elect them and they're not accountable to you, then I think it's very dangerous, because the reason democracy is so important is that it allows you to correct mistakes. It's error correction. If you have an unelected elite endlessly going down the wrong direction, then there's nothing you can do to kick them out. And the euro is a classic example of that.
And finally, Mr. Johnson, if we do vote to leave tomorrow, what will the next few weeks and months look like for this country?
I think that what will happen is that the government will, obviously the most important thing is the government will make a statement about how it's going to respect the wishes of the people. There will be a communication with our European friends and partners about how we propose to proceed, and I think there will be various things that we will do. I mean, obviously, this is a matter for the government, not for our campaign, but you'd have to look at amending the European Communities Act. You'd have to be looking at what you're going to do to begin informal talks about negotiations. You'd have to begin work on the Australian-style points-based system for immigration, and you'd have to consider what you're going to do with the money that you get back. I was very interested that the head of the German CBI today said that whatever happens, there's going to be complete free trade with Britain. I don't know, you saw what he had to say, and he's right. I mean, they export, I think, 820,000 cars a year to this country. It's massively in their interest to do that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.